Hey everyone, if it's your first time, welcome. If it's not your first time, welcome back to Love Wins, where the truth matters because it's the truth that sets us free. We are into our fourth episode on if you've left church, don't go back, ... And the theme of this series is keep moving forward. Wherever you are, figure out how you got there and keep moving forward. So today we're looking at a follow-up to last video on the different kinds of churches that develop, and in that exploration you'll probably identify quickly which kind you grew up with if you grew up in church, and perhaps what you're drawn to, repulsed by, etc. But the ultimate goal is to see what a healthy church looks like, so that wherever you are, you can either find a healthy church or you can use your home and your influence to build one. A church does not have to be a building. It's a group of people who love God and are working towards knowing Him better and making Him a bigger part of their lives and blessing others in the process. So last time we looked at 4 different kinds of church: the bickering church, the brothel church, the bunker church, and the base of operations church. Bickering church and brothel church, I have less optimism for those two kinds. I think they are what they are, and once a church is established and has an identity, it's pretty tough to change it unless a majority of the members realize what's going on and work to make it different. But it's not something one person's going to change. But today I want to explore the bunker church, because the bunker church doesn't just represent a kind of church, it actually represents a mindset. And it's a mindset that can affect us as individuals. It's a mindset that can affect our homes, our individual homes and families. It's a mindset that can affect our community. It's a mindset that can actually affect entire countries. And it's a mindset that's super unhealthy but doesn't feel like it is. And from that unhealthy place, we're going to look at why a base of operations mentality is the mentality of Jesus and why it's a much better place to get to. So a bunker mentality is the mentality that you are right and safe and they are a threat to you, and so you build carefully a life where you can guard yourself, your family, your church, your beliefs, and keep them at bay. It has an illusion of wisdom. It seems like a good idea. And truthfully, there is some part of it that's true. We do need to know who we are, what we believe, and guard that. The question is, how do we guard it, and how do we live guarding it? Jesus knew who He was. He knew why He was here. He knew where He was going, and He guarded that. Nobody could touch it. Nobody could change it. Nobody could dissuade Him. Nobody could. He was who He was, and He was going to do what He was going to do, and that's the way it was. And yet, as guarded and definite as He was about who He was and what He was about, He didn't build walls around Himself at all. In fact, if we're honest about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, Jesus lived in a world of very definite walls and very definite boxes and very definite divisions between peoples, and He spent His life bashing through the walls, knocking down walls, and building bridges instead. That's a theme that I'm going to introduce today, and we're going to build on it, pun intended, next episode. Walls and bridges, because I think it's a concept that's not new. I haven't made it up. But if we can get that picture and that mindset in our own lives, we can really start to evaluate, am I a wall builder or a bridge builder? So, for example, the Jews were a very definite people, a very definite nation, and they had very definite walls, both literal and symbolic, built around them where you Gentiles, all you other people, you stay out. This is us. This is our truth, our God, our Messiah, our hope, our future, our kingdom. And they expected when their Messiah came that he would honor those walls, build them bigger and higher and better, and bring them to a new place that was not new. It was just what they already had multiplied. So we've already pushed the other people out. We already have cities and walls and ideological mindset that builds walls. We have all that stuff in place. We just need a Messiah to come to elevate us and our walls above everybody else. And then Jesus came. And when Jesus came, he didn't fit at all. He was talking to the wrong people. He was going to the wrong places. He was saying and doing the wrong things. And when I say wrong, wrong to a Jewish mind. And here, I don't even... I know what to say. I know what I want to say. I know what needs to be said, but I don't want to say it in a hurtful way. But the biggest barrier against our own progress towards God and truth and happiness and peace and love and joy is ourselves and our own ideas. We want to make a God after our ideas instead of surrendering and submitting to the God who truly exists. So when Jesus came, the reason why his biggest enemies were the church and the leadership of the church was because he was opening up a window to a new kingdom that wasn't anything like their kingdom. And rather than seeing it as a breath of fresh air, they saw it as a threat. And what do people do when they feel threatened? They build a bunker. So they made walls around their hearts and walls around their minds and kept reinforcing to themselves what they had always believed, instead of opening their ears and opening their eyes and opening their minds and opening their hearts to this new perspective that Jesus was offering. The bunker mentality assumes it's actually built on the foundation of the premise that I'm already right. And I need to protect that rightness against the threat of all the wrongness around me. It's an arrogant position to take. Consider this. When God came to Abraham and called him out of the land of the Chaldeans and Haran, and if you study that history, you know about it, whatever. He called him out of his home and native land to a new place with this promise: you will become the father of a great nation, and in you all the families, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. In other words, Abraham, I want you to come with me. I'm going to do a new thing through you and through your offspring. But that new thing is not for you and for your offspring. It's for all the nations. Somewhere very quickly, the descendants of Abraham lost the vision. It was no longer a vision for all the nations. It was a vision for their nation. And now bringing it practically back to church and back to our own thought processes. Every denomination thinks that it's built on the foundation of we're already right. We don't need to re-examine what we believe. We need to build walls around it to protect it and codify it and keep them out from tainting and messing up our truth. Because our truth is the truth. We don't grow in that mindset. To be willing to look at my mind, my past, my traditions, my values, my history, and go and ask the question, how much of this is in line with what Jesus taught, what he showed, what he lived, and how much of it is just straight human ideas with Jesus' name painted over the top. Until I, Dan Wilson, as an individual, am willing to crawl out of my bunker, to open the door, the window, let the sun shine in, and consider another point of view. Until I am willing to do that, to look at the church and what it is or isn't, to look at my community and what it is or isn't, my country and what it is or isn't, my political parties and what they're doing. No. What I believe, and this is going to sound like an aside, but it's not. I believe one of the biggest reasons why conspiracy theories are exploding today is because the very premise of conspiracy theories is that the problem is out there somewhere. It's them. And it completely takes the focus and the responsibility off of me. What do I believe? How am I living? How am I impacting the world and or allowing the world to impact me? How high and thick are the walls around my mind? How high and thick are the walls around my heart? How willing am I to consider that other religions might have something good and positive to contribute? How willing am I to consider that atheists have something good and positive to contribute? How willing am I, I'm not even saying that they do. How willing am I to consider? You see, that's the key. Am I willing to consider? Because Jesus was willing to consider not only walking through Samaria, but stopping, talking to the people there, helping the people there, healing the people there. Then going a step further past the half-breed Samaritans into foreign nations, completely non-Jewish. And not just passing through, but stopping, talking, helping, healing. The bunker mentality is killing us. I believe I mentioned it last video. If I didn't, I'm going to mention it here again anyway. There was a group of believers at the time of Jesus called the Essenes. You will not even find them mentioned in the scriptures. The historian Josephus tells us about them. We know because the Dead Sea Scrolls that were found in one of their communities. And the reason why we never see them or hear about them is because they had disconnected themselves from normal society, and they were focused on ritual and purity. In other words, we're going to leave normal society. We're going to go out and create a commune. We're going to live to ourselves, for ourselves, among ourselves, under the delusion of creating and keeping purity. We're going to do things right, ritual. And in the doing right, we're going to become pure. But in all of that, they had zero impact on the world. Look at your church that you grew up in or that you're currently in. How much impact does it have on the world? Then ask a harder, more humbling question. What about you and your life? What about me and my life? How much impact am I having on the world? How much am I willing to not just walk by them, but talk to them? Help them. Share some of the things that have helped me with them. Invest in them. See value in them. Is my life a bunker? or is it a base of operations? These are big questions and they're hard questions. But if I allow myself to blame what's wrong with me and the world on the church, or to blame what's wrong with the church on the world, or to blame what's wrong with the church on the conspiracy, if I keep shifting the blame elsewhere, I can create the illusion that I'm not part of the problem. Am I building a bunker, or is my life a base of operations to bless the world? We'll see you next time.